If you were alive at any point between the years when hats still mattered and phones still had cords, you've heard of him. Muhammad Ali. The man. The myth. The walking, talking, rhyming contradiction in boxing gloves. He floated like a butterfly and stung like your conscience after skipping your grandmother's birthday. Now, I never met the man personally. My eyesight was bad, and his fists were fast. But I knew a fellow once who claimed he had passed Ali in an airport restroom and said the experience was like encountering thunder in a tuxedo. That's how Ali moved through the world. Bold, poetic, loud, and strangely elegant. Like if Shakespeare had a jab-cross combo. He was born Cassius Marcellus Clay Jr., a name that sounded like the sort of thing you'd find etched into a Civil War cannon or embroidered on a funeral handkerchief. But even as a young boy in Louisville, Kentucky, he had the swagger of someone who knew he'd outgrow whatever name you gave him. According to legend, and those are the best kind of truth, he got into boxing because someone stole his bicycle. That S. Wright, the greatest boxer who ever lived, started punching because he was mad about his wheels. Imagine that. History changed because a boy wanted his bike back. There's a moral in there somewhere, but I haven't had enough coffee to find it. Now, Ali didn't just fight in the ring, he narrated it. He was a one-man Greek chorus with gloves, composing poems between punches and delivering insults with the grace of a playwright and the brutality of a jackhammer. His words danced even when his fists didn't. He'd say things like, "If you even dream of beating me, you'd better wake up and apologize." This wasn't just trash talk. It was performance art. The kind of thing you de-expect from someone who studied both boxing and Oscar Wilde. Ali made pre-fight press conferences sound like stand-up routines held in poetry slams. And while other boxers grunted and snarled, Ali rhymed. He turned bravado into a sonnet. But here's the thing. He wasn't just mouth, he was muscle. And more than that, he was mind. In the ring, he had this odd, unscientific talent of seeing punches before they happened. It was as if time slowed down for him. Or perhaps he was just always one sentence ahead of the universe. Now, it'd be easy to turn this into a tale of triumph. Gold medals, heavyweight belts, champagne glories, but Ali's story has jagged edges and sharper corners. You can't talk about him without talking about Vietnam Ratnapayapur, which was not a vacation spot, no matter what the pamphlet said. Ali refused the draft, stood there, unblinking, proud, Muslim, black, and said, "No, I'm not going to kill someone just because the government handed me a ticket." This, of course, made him a hero to some and a heretic to others. The boxing world exiled him. The US government prosecuted him. They took away his title, his license, his livelihood. What they couldn't take was his conviction, which stood there like a street lamp in a snowstorm, refusing to flicker. He was vilified on Tuesday and canonized on Friday. People are funny that way. They build statues after they tear you down, as if forgiveness is made of marble. Ali returned. He always did. The man couldn't sit still. Even when Parkinson's tried to turn his body into still water, he fought Joe Frazier, not once, not twice, but thrice. The final bout, the Crothing, Thriller in Manila, was the kind of thing that made men cry and doubters eat their own hats. Ali said it was the closest thing to dying. Frazier, for his part, wasn't fond of Ali calling him a gorilla in rhymes before the fight, but this was Ali, equal parts poet and provoker. He hurt with words, and sometimes he regretted it. Mostly, though, he just kept going. He also fought George Foreman, in Zaire no less, in what was surely the most metaphorical boxing match ever staged. It was called the Corsintis, Rumble in the Jungle, though it might as well have been titled The Art of Getting Hit and Still Winning. Ali leaned on the ropes, let Foreman pound him like a defiant drum. And then, when George was too tired to remember his own last name, Ali struck. One punch. Down. Done. History written in sweat. He called it rope-a-dope. But it was more than that. It was philosophy. It was Taoism in trunks. Ali had figured out how to absorb the world's rage and turn it into grace. As he aged, Parkinson's arrived like a cruel editor, crossing out the loud parts of his personality. But even then, even when his voice slowed and trembled, the fire didn't leave him. It just changed shape. I saw a video once. Ali holding the Olympic torch with shaking hands, lighting it anyway, the stadium erupting like a chorus of redemption. There wasn't a dry eye in the house. Even the wind stopped to watch. That's the strange thing about Ali. He spent his life moving, in the ring, in rhetoric, in politics. And yet, his stillness, in the end, said more than any poem he ever spoke. Muhammad Ali was not a perfect man. He was cocky, sometimes cruel, often reckless. He contradicted himself like a politician with a hangover. But he was also a mirror, one that showed us our fears, our prejudices, our ridiculous need to cheer for someone who doesn't play by the rules and yet somehow rewrites them. He was too smart for boxing, too pretty for punishment, and too stubborn for surrender. James Joyce once said, "A man of genius makes no mistakes. His errors are volitional and are the portals of discovery." Well, if that's true, then Ali built a mansion out of mistakes and invited the world inside. In the end, what made him great wasn't the gold or the belts or the speeches. It was the fact that he made us believe, if only for a few rounds, that you could float, sting, sing, speak truth to power, take a punch, give a lesson, lose and still win. And that, dear reader, is the strange, sprawling, shadowboxing life of Muhammad Ali, the only man who ever turned a fight into a fable. Cue the closing bell.